The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.
Great things, my fellow warriors. We're Meckanimal, and today we're going to learn how to pistol squat. I'm not going to take too long in this tutorial because this is not a tutorial to teach you how to unlock it. I'm just going to give you the hint to be able to perform the movement safely and be able to take advantage of the movement itself to make the optimal gain. And the reason why the pistol squat is a dreaded movement is because of the common issue of knee pain. A lot of people who lack the mobility, the adequate mobility, and for that matter, the pistol squat is known to be the ultimate test of ankle mobility. So without proper ankle mobility, you're pretty much doomed and will not be able to perform the movement safely. So if you are lacking the ankle mobility, I would urge you to work really hard on that ankle mobility. It's something that takes months at a time. It may take a year, who knows, depending on how you adapt to it and how diligent you are in the process of stimulating your ankle to yield more range of motion. And that, with that being said, once that is addressed, now let's come to the movement itself. So the pistol squat is a unilateral leg exercise, and it's pretty good for the whole leg as it engages the stabilizers in your ankle, in your calf muscle from the ankle up to your knee, and as well as mobilizing your quads and as you go lower and break parallel to be able to burst out of the bottom, you will need to activate your glutes, which is the reason why when you get somebody to to pistol squat with a box, even when especially when you teach them, once they have to sit at the bottom and come up, it tends to really stimulate those muscles to the point that they get super sore in the butt, even more than the quads, which is quite interesting because we know that it is a really quad targeted movement on its own. The activation of the quads is supposed to be primary during the performance of the movement. So to do that, you start by looking for the more real estate you have on the shoe, the better it's going to be. That's why I decided to wear at least my sandals, because if I was to go barefoot, I have less real estate, meaning making the movement much harder to stabilize. So look for a shoe that gives you enough stabilization, and I don't want to have you go and be obsessed with the shoe that you need, because that's another problem out there. People tend to want to use the most accessories as possible to be able to facilitate the movement. That's not it. I'm just asking you to use something as simple as a sandal. So you start by standing, lift your leg forward. Again, you're gonna need a certain amount of strength in your hip flexors to be able to lift it and maintain the foot up. So those who have a problem maintaining their foot up, that's really, I won't say sad, but it really tells of how weak of a mobility you have, because the ability to use those small muscles and hold them, the endurance lacking, make it hard for you to maintain that or even increase the range of motion as you're descending. So that's another problem beside the lack of motion, lack of range of motion in your ankle. You have people who lack the mobility in the hip to be able to hold the leg up using the hip flexor or some of the some of the quad muscle to help you keep the leg up. So you start, lift the leg up, tight everything, and then you start by externally rotate your hip and then break as far out as possible, keep your back as flat as possible, and then descend and then up. So from this side, you start, tighten up your stomach, retract your back, or even if you have your arm there to help you balance, make sure that you pull your shoulder blade back, get it all the slack out of it. So from here, I want you to sit sideways in your hip, and then from here you descend right there, and then boom, right there, and then boom. So the goal is to engage the glute, load up the glute, load up the movement, and then descend, and then out. So that's that. It's a pretty simple movement. It just requires you extreme amount of ankle mobility, because if you like that mobility, you will get stuck somewhere here, and then bang, you fall on your butt. So the same thing applies to the regular squat. You lack the ankle mobility, you won't be able to go deep enough. But it is much more crucial and critical for the pistol squat, because you're on one leg, and without that full mobility, you will have a hard time, going down. And if you you still don't have the strength yet, you could use a box, for example, to set yourself about half your foot outside of the box. Same thing, up, load, always good mechanic, and then up, always good mechanic, and then up. Lean into the leg, point your knees out, and then control down, and then up. Lean into the leg, up, down, and then up. So always move with the strictest control, especially with this movement, because it could be making the difference between snap city and gain city. So that's that. Again, retract, straight, lean into it, bang, one. So that's that. And like I said, once you master a movement, whether you recovered, under recovered, tired, at any given time, you're supposed to be able to do the movement. And the fact that you go up and down, it can raise your heart rate as high as as high as needed. So be mindful of that. It is a pretty intense movement when done properly. And that's that. As of myself, I don't feel intimidated because I make it look easy. I've been able to used to squat 155 pounds. That's pretty much about 70 kilograms or so. So I'm pretty strong on the one leg movement. I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. So it only makes sense that I have that dexterity and I have pretty good mobility as well, which is the reason why I can guarantee and testify that it does work, provided that you do the movement right and you make sure that you follow my guideline. You'll be able to avoid injury and make good use of it. It does help, maybe not the most down to earth the best go-to option, because it requires you a learning curve that needs to be met first before you can use it. But even till then, you can always use the support of box assisted one and follow the same protocol. The only difference that you will be limited by the range of motion, and you could even get a lower box and come down, but be careful, because between the deeper range and getting off to the sticking point, during that combating that sticking point, that's where your knee can go in if you lack the quad strength to mobilize it outside. So be careful of the knee valgus whenever you're performing the pistol squat. That's how you avoid injury, and that should be it. I hope I covered everything I know about the pistol squat. Feel free to comment down below if you have any concern. You want any other tutorial in my next upcoming video. So I'm gonna make it a series of the home workout tutorials. A lot of the tutorial that I've been postponing so far. Let me make use of the time that I have at home idle to provide as much tutorial as possible. Some of them sound what you call them, yeah, possible. All right, comment, subscribe, everything, like everything, make the channel boom, because this is some premium information right there. Everything is and will always be the Meckanimal way. Again, salute.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.